If you're enjoying this podcast, explore The Calm Operator, a practical survival guide by Steve Barker, published by Books Central. Built for pressure, it helps you stay composed, think clearly, and act effectively in outdoor, urban, and emergency situations. Find the book on Amazon or through the Books Central website. When people think about survival, they often picture fire, shelter, or navigation. But in the real world, one of the most valuable skills you can learn is how to identify and safely use food that's already growing around you. That's what wild food foraging is all about: noticing what nature offers, understanding what is actually edible, and avoiding the very real risks that come with guesswork. In this episode, we're looking at wild food foraging as a practical survival skill, not a romantic hobby. Because when conditions get tough, knowing how to find food in the landscape can make a huge difference to both morale and long-term resilience. The first rule of wild food foraging is simple. Do not eat anything unless you are completely certain of what it is. Confidence without knowledge is dangerous. Many edible plants have toxic lookalikes, and some species can cause serious illness from even a small amount. The goal is to build a careful, repeatable process. Learn the local plants in your region before you ever rely on them in the field. Study field guides, train with experts if possible, and pay attention to season, habitat, leaf, shape, stem structure, smell, and growth pattern. Foraging is less about memorizing a long list and more about developing a disciplined eye. Once you start identifying safe options, focus on the most accessible categories first. Leaves, shoots, berries, nuts, seeds, roots, and fungi can all be food sources, but they should not all be treated the same way. In a survival setting, the easiest and safest gains usually come from plants that are easy to recognize and simple to prepare. Many wild greens can be eaten raw or lightly cooked, while roots and tubers often need proper cleaning and cooking. Berries may provide quick energy, but only if you know exactly what you're picking. The best wild food foraging habits are cautious, local, and seasonal. What's abundant in spring may be gone by late summer, and what looks useful in one terrain may be non-existent in another. Food safety matters just as much as identification. Even edible plants can be dangerous if they're growing in contaminated ground, near polluted water, or in areas exposed to chemical runoff. It's also important to think about calories versus effort. Some wild foods are worth the time because they deliver nutrition or bulk, while others are useful only as a small supplement. In a real survival situation, foraging should support your energy, not drain it. That means balancing the search for food with your need to stay warm, hydrated, and oriented. If you burn more calories gathering than you gain from the food, you've created another problem instead of solving one. Finally, wild food foraging works best when it becomes part of a broader survival mindset. Don't wait for an emergency to start learning. Practice in safe conditions, build local knowledge, carry a reliable reference. And remember that foraging is one layer of a wider plan, not a replacement for water, shelter, or smart decision-making. The more you understand your environment, the more options you have when normal systems fail. That's the real value of foraging, not just feeding yourself, but increasing your confidence, awareness, and ability to adapt. In the outdoors, that kind of competence can be as important as any piece of gear.